This button. Hello. Someone's out there, say hi. I'm just kind of doing a series on mental health and stuff like that. I wanted to talk about living with bipolar because I don't think anybody really talks about living with bipolar. I know that there's talk about mental health, but I don't think anybody talks about living with bipolar and how your life starts out, how it happens, what you deal with, how you live your daily life. I've got bipolar. I think it's type 2. I'm pretty sure it's type 2. And I was finally diagnosed in my 30s with it. My late 30s, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, bipolar 2. And how I was diagnosed was I had in 2020, when we shut down work for 2 months, I had gotten really depressed. And I went to my doctor and she put me on an antidepressant. Well, it helped for a little bit, but it didn't help very long. So she and I had a conversation about stuff. And she said, well, how about we put you on a mood stabilizer? Okay, so she put me on a mood stabilizer. Well, then I got into therapy. I contacted the mental health association that I'm with, and I started going to therapy. Well, as my therapy progressed, she suggested that, I got something in my tooth, and I had no idea it did. I think it's gone now. Okay. She suggested that I actually see the psychiatrist there because, of course, psychiatrist, while my primary care doctor was doing all that she could to help me, my primary, they know how to do stuff, but they kind of do the bare bone minimum of it. And so I discontinued my mental health with my primary care physician and went over to the psychiatrist that was there. Now, the psychiatrist that was there is, look at my shirt. I have stuff all over it. I didn't know I had stuff all over it. I just ate mochi and it got on it. The psychiatrist there was going over stuff with me, and he's like, okay, so you're staying on your mood stabilizer. The mood stabilizer they had me on was working well, but it needed to increase. And then he took me off of my antidepressant. I was on Wellbutrin XL. Well, that has a stimulant in it. And if you're bipolar, any kind of stimulant is going to bring you high and make you manic, and then you're going to drop down. So that's what I was doing at night. I was taking my mood stabilizer at night, and then I was taking my my antidepressant in the morning. So I would, rock it up all day and have all this energy, and then I would go down at night. So he took me off of my Wellbutrin, and he put me on a sleeping med. I take a very little amount of sleeping meds because over the conversations and stuff, it was, how do you sleep? Well, my whole life, I slept, but I woke up every 30 minutes to an hour, and I was up for 2 or 3 minutes. Now, it doesn't seem like much, but it exhausted me because I'm not getting enough sleep. Well, if you know anything about bipolar, you have to get enough sleep, because if you don't get enough sleep, then you can go manic again. So that is kind of how all that played out. I am now on a really good dose of medicine. I'm not on a high dose. I'm on a pretty medium dose of medicine, and I'm doing a lot better. I still have my bad days. If I spend too much time in the sun, if I, something happens that's traumatic or stresses me out, then that kind of can set me into a manic phase, or it can set me into a depressive stage. So growing up, I always knew there was something different about me. In my teens is when it really started kicking off. So when I was 13 or 14, I got really depressed, and I didn't know why. And my mom, should I look at the camera or should I look down here? I don't know. My mom's friend was the one that actually noticed it about me. She said, she told my mom that I acted like I was really depressed and that I needed help. So my mom kind of got me help, but it was weird. And I, from then on, just had these episodes. And when I was, I'm going to say 15, 16, 17, I had a really bad impulse control issue. And that's something that's with bipolar too, is that when you're manic, you have really bad impulse control. And I had kleptomania really bad, and I would take stuff from places. And ironic, the place that I took most of my stuff from, I actually got a job at later in life. And so I would go through these phases. Well, I didn't drink, I didn't do drugs or anything like that until I was 21. So I was pretty much a goody two-shoes. I didn't go out with my friends. If I did, my Friday and Saturday nights were at a bowling alley. And so my impulse controls kind of, they were a little iffy. I did level out a little bit. And then I got into my 20s, and that's when I got married, and I had an abusive marriage, and that's when I tried drugs for the first time, and I got hooked on them for a while. I think I was on drugs for methamphetamines for like maybe a year total, off and on. I got off of them when my middle son, who just graduated on Saturday or Sunday. I'm so proud of him. I got off of drugs when he was 3 months old, and I got into a rehab place. It was outpatient rehab, and I got into therapy also. And then I had to go see a psychiatrist there because they worked everything one-on-one. And that's when I got diagnosed, but I didn't get diagnosed. They put me on Strattera, on Wellbutrin XL, they put me on Depakote, and then they put me on, I can't remember what they put me on, but all these medicines made me feel like a zombie. Like I didn't feel normal. I felt like a zombie. And then I was drinking really bad too, which if you know anything about mental health, if you take your medications and you're drinking, they don't do anything. They actually can make your depression worse, or they can ramp you up and make you like more homicidal, more suicidal. They can make you basically crazier is what they can do. And so they never really had, look at all the stuff on my shirt. Oh my goodness. That's embarrassing. I had mochi in it, like the powdered sugars on me. And so I never gave myself like a fair chance, is basically what it was, is I never gave myself a fair chance to heal and to let these medicines kick in. So throughout my late 20s was really when that bipolar kicked in and the impulse control kicked in. I would spend money like crazy. I was on drugs. I was drinking. And I just had really poor impulse control. I was in just bad situations. I was in a bad situation. Oh, I got in trouble for saying foul language or any substances. Okay. I can't cuss? Okay. Anyways, so I was on drugs. I was, not doing well. And I just was super, super. Hi, Justin. I was super manic, and then I'd get really depressed. I got pregnant with my daughter in 2009, and that's when I got off drugs. And I had her, and again, my, emotions are going up and down. Well, I didn't think anything of it. I think it was 2013, yeah. In 2013, I had to have a medical procedure. I had to have an emergency hysterectomy. Well, if you know that really messes with your hormones. So I went back to the doctor, not the primary doctor I have now, but a different primary doctor. I went to them and I was like, hey, this is what's going on. So they prescribed me a antidepressant. The first one they put me on made me very angry and homicidal. Never got suicidal. So they yanked me off of that. Really quick. They yanked me off of it. They put me on another one. That one made me homicidal. They yanked me off that one. They put me on another one. That one did. They put me on Wellbutrin XL. It worked fine. Again, it was a stimulant. So for years I was going up and down. But again, I was still drinking. So I met my spouse in 2016, and we have a really normal relationship. We really don't fight. We work things out. We get along really well. We're really great team players. We support each other. I know the antidepressants, if you don't find the right one, it makes you worse. It's kind of sad. In 2019, stopped consuming alcohol. I got sober. And I started realizing, I was still having impulse controls before I got sober. I would spend money like you would not believe. I would max my credit cards out like you would not believe. And then I would get depressed because, oh my goodness, look what I've gone and done. Impulse controls were more on spending money and then like binge eating. You also binge eat. I don't know if anybody else does that. You either binge eat or you starve yourself in these times. And I would binge eat really bad and I gained a bunch of weight. And I got sober. Well, when I got sober, I know there are some antidepressants and stuff that make you like swerve and stuff and they make you feel weird. And I don't like it. I hope that if you do get back on one, they find the right one for you. Actually, there is a test. I don't know if it's offered. I think it's offered everywhere. I know it's offered here in Kansas. You can go get a blood test and they will test your blood and it actually finds what medicine is more compatible with your DNA and with your chemical makeup, which is really good. So in 2019, I got sober. Well, this started bringing back like major trauma, stuff and just not flashbacks, but it just brought all this stuff to the surface that I was pushing down, right? I still got something in there. I was pushing down with alcohol. So that's when I decided in 2020, because I had been sober a year, that's when I decided to go get the help that I got. And that's kind of when I, went on that journey. And it's different. It's hard living with it sometimes. There's times where I don't want to get out of bed. There's times where if I do get out of bed, I can make it a little bit. Most of the time, especially if I'm employed, I get up and I do my stuff. I also do art. Sometimes that helps me. But, I still have impulse issues. Sometimes I still have, depending on what happens, if I get overstimulated, too much. So some of the rules is, not rules, but recommendations, I guess, is, you can't get more than 2 to 4 hours of sunshine a day because that'll overstimulate you. You can't work swing shifts or late shifts. So no second or third shift, no swing shifts. not alcohol, of course I'm sober, so I don't drink. No, not like too much caffeine or stimulants. And I'm really guilty of taking too much caffeine sometimes. I love coffee, and I'll have like today, this is the cup that I had. It's humongous. It's my Keep It Spicy. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's Keep It Spicy. It's my sriracha cup. And I'll have a couple of those sometimes, and I'm just not good. And so manic for me, I don't know about other people, but manic for me looks like I'm on drugs. Looks like I'm speeding all over the place, and I'm mad, and I'm angry, and I'm very loud, and I talk really fast, and I'm aggressive, and not aggressive in like, not physically aggressive. I'm very aggressive as far as like, we're talking about, hi Lucy, we're talking about the effects of living with bipolar. I'm talking about the effects of me living with bipolar and kind of how it all happened and everything, and how it came to be. But, me being manic right now, and I can feel it. I don't know if anybody else can. I've spoken to a couple people with bipolar. I don't know if anybody else can, but I can feel it. I can feel my manic phases coming on. I'll wake up and I just feel off. And I'll tell my wife, I'm manic. I can feel it. It's coming, and I'm sorry. And, and I have an amazing, amazing, amazing partner in life, because she will say, it's okay. We'll get through this. What do you need? And sometimes all I need is just that. Sometimes all I need is to go and to ground myself. I don't know if anybody else does that either, but I go outside, I sit in the grass, and I put my feet in the grass, and I put my hands on the grass, and I just sit there, and I close my eyes, and I listen to nature. Or I will garden. I like to garden. I've been really lazy about gardening the last few years. I just planted some dill, and I'm going to plant my lettuce this weekend. I try to go live as much as possible, Justin, but sometimes I don't. Sometimes I don't. I try, but I'm very, very nervous about it, because I'm nervous. So my depression looks like me crying. Well, I cry anyways all the time. I cry at everything. I cry at people having babies. I cry at TV shows. I cry at happy moments. I cry all the time. But my depression mode looks like, okay, I'm just going to get up. I'm going to go to work. I'm going to be quiet. I'm super emotional. I'm going to come home. I'm going to do my normal stuff, and I'm going to sit around, and I'm not going to do anything. I don't want to do, I know, Justin, it's crazy. I just don't do anything. I don't paint. I don't go outside. I don't eat well when I'm manic or depressed, but more when I'm depressed, excuse me. I don't eat well. Let's see what else happens from day to day. I have a very strict routine. That's something that I have found that helps me. It helps me stay on my meds. It helps me do better in life and thrive a little bit more. So in the morning, I get up, I get dressed, I come out. First thing I do is make my coffee. I get my coffee in me, I eat, and I take my meds. And I'm not working right now. I'm interviewing for a couple positions, but having that routine, I left at the same time every morning. I only stopped at the same places. So there was like a Quick Trip at one place, Dylan's. Mostly Quick Trips is where I stopped, because Quick Trips are everywhere here. So I would stop. I'd eat the same thing. That kind of goes along with my ADD also, is eating the same things. So I would eat the same things for lunch. I also have celiac disease, so I have to really watch what I eat. So I have to eat gluten-free stuff, So you can only get that certain places. So I ate the same things. I had kind of the same nightly routine. We try to go to bed at the same time. I'm kind of slacking right now. I, shower, do my face routine, and I ding. My wife is not staying late today. And it helps me thrive a little bit better. Now, saying that, what I'm working on in therapy is if things don't go right or my routine is thrown off, that it's okay. It doesn't mean my whole day's ruined. It doesn't mean that whole moment's ruined. It's fine, because we can always reset. We can reset and we can start from that point. Let's see what else. So in 2020 and 21, I was on my meds and they were getting them all like evened out. So I was on them from I've been on Lamictal since 2020, and I've been on Seroquel since, I think it's 2021, maybe 2020. I don't know. I can't remember. But in 2021, some stuff happened. Just normal random like triggers and stuff like that happened. And it was, so my spouse had to go off for some military training, and I was left here by myself for 6 months with my daughter. Now, I can take care of my daughter, I can take care of myself, but it made me realize how much that my wife does help me. And I'm going to share a really big secret. In 2021, so about September, October, when all this was getting ready to happen, I got really, really ragey, like super ragey. Like ragey to the point that it was scary. And I felt it for like 2 days, and I was kind of manic, and I felt it for 2 days, and I called my doctor for the first time ever. I called my psychiatrist. I called him. I picked the phone up and I said, "Hey, I'm having some issues. I need to come in, and I need to come in now." And they instantly got me in the next day. When I got there, of course, he asked me all the same questions. Are you safe? Are you going to harm yourself? Are you going to harm others? All that stuff. Of course, I'm safe. I'm not going to harm anybody. I'm not going to harm myself. I just was rough. It was rough. So they upped my medicine. And it was really cool because it was the first time in my life that I had called my doctor and did something about it until, before the really manic stuff set in and before I started making really bad choices and having more impulse control issues. I actually called the doctor, and that was one of the biggest steps that I have taken and that has happened since this journey. And it's hard. It's hard for me to talk about sometimes. I will tell you that I'm a recovering addict and I'm a recovering alcoholic every day. I will tell you that I was homeless. I will tell you that, I am the birth mother of 2 children that my mother raised, because in my 20s, my mid or late 20s, I had a psychotic break, which now we know is bipolar. And I will tell you guys that all the time. What's hard for me is talking about bipolar, because it's looked upon like it's this bad thing. I'm going to grab a drink. And I'm getting old. It's looked upon as a bad thing. It's such a shunned thing, and it's such a taboo thing, and so I don't talk about it, I tell people when I go for job interviews, I actually put it down on an application, because that way, if I need to go to a doctor's appointment that's during work hours, they know why, and they can't deny it. They can't deny those appointments. But I don't really want to, it's hard. I've started opening up a little bit more about it now. I feel like it really helps people. People take a pill every day to help for their diabetes. They take a pill every day to help with cholesterol. They take a pill, they take all these medicines. But if you take one for depression or you take one for bipolar or even schizophrenic, you're looked down upon, which blows my mind. And you're looked down upon for having substance abuse issues and alcohol issues. But they go hand in hand. And I don't think people realize that some of these people that are doing this, they're medicating themselves. I will tell you right now that I medicated myself. I medicated myself for years. I'll probably get off here, by the way, in about 12 minutes because my wife will be home and we have to do a couple things. Just a forewarning. But this is a family issue. My biological dad has a horrible temper. Pretty sure he has schizophrenia. Where it's not, I don't know for sure. I know that he's been told he has, but I know he's unmedicated, so I don't 100% know what his issues are. My mom has depression. My grandmother has depression. My brothers have depression and anxiety. My 2 sons have depression and anxiety. My daughter has anxiety. My daughter's had anxiety since I can remember. She's always been anxious. She's always been that anxious kid. She's a people pleaser. I mean, and what's funny is I'm totally different with my daughter than I was my boys. Of course, with my boys, I was sick, unmedicated, had drug and alcohol problems. With my daughter, I'm totally different. We are body positive. We don't force people. I don't force anybody to eat food. I ask that you try a food at least once before you say no. She is told that she is very loved every day. Every single day we tell her we love her. She is told that she is smart and, she's allowed to have these emotions and stuff like that. And it's hard, you guys. It is so hard for me to deal with that part of her. And I don't understand why. We are exploring that in therapy, and it is getting better. But it's just been such a taboo subject, and I think it's sad. It's sad that no one can talk about it, and so many people go undiagnosed, or they go and they don't want to take the medicine because it's taboo. It's sad to me. It's really sad. And then another thing with being bipolar and living with it is that you're on your meds and you start feeling normal, right? And you start normal. You start living your life and you start thriving and you start doing better. Hey, I feel better. I don't need this medication. A lot of times we stop our medication. Schizophrenia, I don't know if depression, I know a lot of depression. Once you feel better, a lot of people stop their meds. I know bipolar does a lot. I don't know about schizophrenia. I don't know. I really haven't done a ton of research on that. I've done a ton of research on bipolar. And actually let me see if I can find it here. I have some really cool information about bipolar. Here we go. I got some really interesting bipolar things here. So bipolar, of course, is manic and depressive. That's what that's how you get diagnosed, is you have manic phases and you have depressive phases. So manic, it's an onset between 18 and 30. So that's my depression started when I was a teenager, but my manic and all that started when I was in 20s. So I had my psychotic break in 20s. Your mood is elevated, expansive, and irritable. Like I told you, I get really, 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 really ragey. Speech, loud and rapid. I have that. Punning, poor judgment, clanging, and vulgar. I cuss like a sailor, but okay. Weight loss, grandiose delusions. So I'm the best. I'm always going to be the best. All that. Distracted. Always distracted. I don't care if I'm on my medication or not. I'm shiny object squirrel. I'm always distracted. Hyperactivity. Again, acting like you look like you're on drugs or anything. Decreased need for sleep. So I would go days on 3-4 hours of sleep a night, if even that, and I'd be fine. Inappropriate dress, which I don't really dress inappropriate. And I think more you're dressing out of season, I've seen more than actually dressing inappropriate. And then flight of ideas. So they're just... So when you're in your depressive stage, you have previous manic phases, right? So what goes up must come down. That applies to bipolar also in manic and depressive issues. So if you're going up, you're going to come down. Feeling of worthless, guilt, and hopelessness. I carry a lot of guilt from my kids, from my 2 boys. Let's see. Anger and irritability. So manic and depressive, you can have both of those. No interest in things that make you happy or that bring you joy. So painting, listening to music, hanging out with your family, doing these fun activities, you'll lose that. Negative views, fatigue, and no energy. Like I said, I sleep a lot. I will not want to do anything. I have no energy. Decreased appetite. This is a fun one. Constipation. Never knew it. Insomnia. Again, you're not sleeping much, or if you do, unaliving yourself tendencies, and or you might be agitated, or your movements and your reactions are actually slowed. And I had a really bad episode about a month ago. My cousin's abuser came into my job. And this person happens to be family that I have not seen or spoken to in years due to this. And I got super, just panic attacked. High heart rate. Felt like I was going to throw up. Just got a little manic in that moment. And when I came down from that, I was exhausted. I was slurring my words. Someone would have thought that I was drinking because I was so far down. My limbs felt like I couldn't move them. I was moving in slow motion. I kept telling Beth, I'm moving in slow motions. And it stunk. It really sucked. It sucks. Let's see what else we got here. So in bipolar disorder in teens and young adults. So this is something that I think everybody should read because everybody should know these things. Everybody should know these signs and these symptoms. That way, if your children has them or someone in your family has it, it's a hard conversation to have, but especially if your children are having them, you really need to pay attention to your kids about this stuff. It doesn't matter if they're depressed or what they are. You need to pay attention to your kids because if you catch this, you can not prevent it, but you can start the process of healing. You can start meds. You can start these things. You can start therapy, and it might save them from having a lot of heartache and trouble as they become adults. If I had been treated properly and I had been diagnosed properly earlier and taken care of it, I could have had a very different life. I probably would have stuck school out. I probably would have, not had all these issues with substances and stuff. I'm not going to say that because it's a choice. I know that's a choice. I didn't choose to be a drug addict, but I chose to start taking the medicine. The drugs, whatever. I'm tired, you guys. So it says bipolar disorder in teens, young adults know the signs. Bipolar disorder is a mental disorder that causes unusual shifts in mood marked by episodes of mania and depression. So Again, signs of mania. Showing intense happiness or silliness for a long time. Having a very short temper or seeming extremely irritable. Talking very fast and having racing thoughts. Having inflated sense of ability, knowledge, and power. Doing reckless things that show poor judgment. Again, impulse control. I'm dying of thirst. Body armor. Perfect. Common signs and symptoms of depression. Feeling sad or hopeless. Feeling lonely or isolating themselves from others. Eating too much or eating too little. Having little energy and no interest in usual activities. Sleeping too much. Okay, so I will say that a lot of these sounds like your normal moody teenager. I 100% agree. But if it's to an extreme point, that's when you kind of need to start looking into stuff. It's just like if someone has ADD or they have dyslexia or, a child on the spectrum or someone that has, anything. The quicker you get this taken care of and the quicker you start intervention and you start helping these people, the quicker they're going to be able to heal and the better life that they're going to live. Do I wish I would have listened and got myself together a little bit earlier in life? I do. Totally do. But I can tell you at 40, actually I'm almost 41, I am living my best life. I'm living my best life. I get up and I take my medicine every day. I look forward to doing things. Fishing is my number one thing that I like to do. I don't know if y'all can tell, but I went fishing yesterday and I got a little tan. I caught 10 fish. My grandpa caught 2. It was kind of awesome because he usually outfishes me. But, living your best life, it shouldn't be done when you're, everybody says you live your best life after 40 or after 50 or whatever. You should live your best life every day. It shouldn't be living my best life, shouldn't be in this box. If your kid has these issues, if your teenager's showing signs of anything that I've talked about, or, a sister or whatever, something that if you see it, gently approach them. Don't come full force, because if someone would have came full force at me talking about how I had this, which it did happen a couple times, you have this, you have that, you're this, you're that, you're going to make them A, push back on you, B, they're not going to talk to you about it. They're probably going to get, if they're in a manic or a depressive phase, if they really do have bipolar, they're actually probably going to get really angry with you and come after you. And not like physically, well, I might physically, but mentally they're going to come at you. They're going to be very upset. They're going to be defensive. They're going to be mean because they don't want to talk about it. No one wants to know that. No one wants to have someone come and tell them that. So you kind of have to be gentle about it. And just, I think the best thing that I can say is that if you have a partner or something, read up on bipolar. Do your research on it. Make sure that you read up on it. That way you know what the signs are, what's going on, and how you can help someone. I 100% believe that everybody needs to read. If you have someone in your life that's bipolar, I can't remember what book it is, but there's a lot of little good articles that talk about loving someone and living with someone that has bipolar. And I 100% believe that everybody should read those if they have someone with bipolar in their life, because it's going to help you understand that person a little bit more, and it'll help you to know what to do and how to deal with it. Now, I try not to put all my stuff on my wife. It is not her responsibility. It's my responsibility to take my medication. It's my responsibility to avoid things. So I don't know. It's just a difficult thing. But anyways, thank you for coming and listening to me. I'm going to get off here because my dogs are outside. They need to come in. And my wife will be here at any moment. And I got to get ready. We have a baseball game tonight to go to, and I'm really excited. It's my wife, my daughter, and her friend, and I. So we've got a jam-packed weekend again. Last weekend was My kiddo had a concert on Thursday, a dance on Friday. We had something Saturday. I can't remember what the Saturday thing was. Can't remember. And then we had my son's graduation on Sunday. The weekend before that, we had a million things. We had a million things all, like, this whole, like, from April to usually July is just absolutely bonkers in this household. And this week we have baseball game, and then we have my son's graduation party. Next week we have last week of school, which will be fun, because then, since I'm not working at the moment, I get to spend some time with my kid, and we'll get to do more things. But anyways, I hope everybody has a great weekend. I will try to hop on here a little bit more. Probably, I don't know if I'll do it this weekend, but I will definitely do it next week a couple times so we can continue the talk of mental health. If anybody needs help ever, please reach out to someone. If you are having suicidal thoughts, homicidal thoughts, anything like that, you actually feel like you need help, please reach out to someone. There are people that care. You can reach out to me. I will try to get back with you as fast as I can. Sometimes I don't because I'm doing things, but reach out to me, reach out to anybody. And of course, you can always call 1-800-273-8255. That is the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. But yeah, if you guys are having any issues, please reach out to someone. There is help there, and I hope you guys have a great weekend.